Welcome to Make Your Mark podcast, where guests share their experiences, insights, and tactics to help you accelerate your business. So building, scaling, and monetizing your business is made easier. And I will be your host, Kay Suthar. Hey guys, welcome to another epic episode of Make Your Mark podcast. Now, oh my goodness, I have an awesome guest for you today. And how I know this is because we've been already chatting behind the scenes, and oh my goodness, her energy is out of this world. Now, her name is Tash Jefferies. She's a founder of TashJefferies.com. She's a dynamic figure in startups and is a 3-time startup founder, speaker, author, and digital strategist. Her role as 500 Global Mentor, TEDx speaker, and Huffington Post Top 50 Health Bloggers showcase her prowess. Now, she's armed with a chemistry and biology degree, 2 decades of sales experience, and 7 years in consulting. Tash empowers startups worldwide with expertise spanning customer discovery to make sure that she goes into the intricacies, and her sales and growth marketing proficiency paired with energetic presentations. Now you're going to hear about the energetic side of it in a moment, makes her a sought after mentor embodying entrepreneurial triumph and innovation advocacy. Oh my goodness, there's so many questions I have already for Tasha. So let's get into it. Tasha, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Kay. And I have to say it, you are the first international person who's ever done this. I introduced myself as Tash, but only family members know me as Tasha. So you did that. And I was like, whoa, you must be an honorary Canadian.
Do you know what? No. So I have been to Canada a few times for sure. Just kind of doing events and coaching and all of that good stuff. But it's so cold over there. It's colder than the London.
Oh, it's winter now. I just booked a trip to Mexico. Trust me, it's cold for us too.
You know what? I find the weather in London is miserable and it's cold. But when I came to Canada, the level of snow that you have over there, I was like, I'm not leaving the hotel. It's not happening.
I live in the country, so I get it is normal for me to get more snow than is my height because I'm only 5 feet. And so it's normal to walk outside and be like, okay, I'm going to get lost. I have to seriously shovel.
Right. Did you say you're 5 foot tall?
I did. Yes.
Okay, so I'm 4'11". So I hear you.
You know what? I'm sure you get it like I do too. We do not look our height. I never would have guessed. You look like you're like 6 feet tall.
Right? So when I'm on Zoom, people don't understand it. They see me in real life when I'm speaking on stages or at events, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're like this big," right?
Yeah. I get it all the time too.
But you know what? We're small, but we're powerful women. Right?
Mighty, super mighty, yes.
Yes, exactly. Now, Tash, you have done so much already, right? You have built businesses all around the world and you've taken them to a whole different level. But I'm guessing it didn't all start from there, right? It didn't just happen overnight, right? So tell me a little bit, and all of our listeners as well, what was that journey like for you, right? What were some of the ups and downs?
Well, I'll tell you the kickoff, and it's so funny because I just recorded a podcast and I realized I told the podcaster the wrong dates because it seems like a lifetime ago. But I can tell you my entrepreneurship startup journey started back in 2011. In that year, I ended up getting viral meningitis and it changed my life. I had to make an exit from management consulting and do something else. I realized I had just been running myself into the ground. I lost one of my brothers very shortly after I got sick. And then I almost lost another brother as well. And so it was a year of like, okay, it was as we come to call it now, come to Jesus moment. Like, this is a point where you do something. And it was that led me to starting out on my own. So I left management consulting, which I had been doing for 7 years, and decided to become an entrepreneur. And oddly enough, I started out as a wellness coach, hence why that Huffington Post top 50 health tweeters came about. I never in a million years would I have imagined I've done that. And since that, I published my first book. I did my TEDx talk. I've been a digital strategist and then turned into a marketing tech founder, then an HR tech founder. And now I am a global mentor for other founders who, just do things differently. And so there's been a lot. But yeah, health was one of the major reasons why I decided to do things differently, shake it up. And people ask all the time, like, could you have predicted this? No, my life is nothing like I even would have imagined it even 5 years ago, to be quite honest with you.
Right. Now, there's a couple of things that you've already mentioned there, right, that I want to kind of do a deep dive. First of all,
course,
I love the fact that you have gone into the whole tech marketing world as a woman, right? Because it's very male dominated, right? And so I love that. I mean, I'm all about the tech and AI and Web3, and that's where I'm taking a lot of my clients into as well. And I've seen, like, there's not many women that do this. So I've got to give you, like, a high 5 or a high 10, right, from doing this years ago, because it was even less known of back then.
Okay, let me tell you. So one of the things that I do, and again, I mentor founders globally. So I work with tech companies all over the world. And it never ceases to amaze me, like, to be a woman in this field is rare. To be a woman of color in this field, even more rare. And then I'm in Canada. Like, there have been countries I've gone to, and I don't even think they realize there are Black women and Black people here in Canada. So that's a whole other ballpark. And so I've just gotten used to, and I actually embrace the fact that I'm almost like a unicorn, because I've really not come across any other, women of color very rarely in this field. And the ones that I do find, we stick together like glue, because there's not that many of us, even like in the world of mentorship, mentoring tech companies, working with tech companies. There's not that many of us. So we happen to find each other, and we have a community, and we stay strong and support each other and continue to do this work.
I love it. I mean, I have a podcast agency, right? And one of the things that I learned is, oh my God, I'm the only Indian, British, right, that actually owns a podcast agency in the world.
Okay. Like, hi, 10. Right? Unbelievable. I'm not surprised.
It's insane, but I'm loving it. Again, we can call ourselves a unicorn, right? This is what makes us stand out for sure. Now, you went from being in corporate to saying, oh my goodness, no, I need to build my own business. I need to go down the entrepreneurial road. We both know it's not that easy.
No.
Right? So what were kind of some of the things in the beginning that you noticed worked or didn't work for you? And how did you really get yourself and your brand out there?
You know what? I get asked this question, then I always go back. I mean, you mentioned it, and I know you have it too, which is that energy thing. Like, you have to not be afraid to go out there, put yourself out there. Don't be afraid of messing up. God knows I have messed up and made more mistakes than I can imagine, but you have to get over that fear of making mistakes. Listen, every mistake I've made in my life led me to an opportunity. And so I embrace that attitude of, okay, well, listen, the more I fail, it means I'm getting closer to that win. And so I embrace that, getting out there, not being afraid to talk to people. I'm sure it's also part of my sales background where, like, you don't get fazed by rejection. Okay, if this person says no, on to the next one, and you keep moving. So between the energy of bringing yourself forward, being memorable, just embracing who you are, I've never met anyone who said to me, you remind me of this person. Gee, I wonder why. I'm an oddball in my own right, and I embrace that, and I'm okay with that. I just do my thing. What I like is what I like. But then I pair that with, I'm just tenacious. If I want something, I go after it. I'm not afraid of failure. Failure brings me to that next win. And life has taught me that as long as you embrace that kind of an attitude, opportunities will come to you, and they do. And that's the last thing. I am never afraid to say yes to an opportunity. I figure if it comes my way, even if it seems like I'm not ready for it, I can't do it. Like back in the day, I know a lot of people have done them now, but when I was doing TEDx, like literally when it came to me, I was like, I'm not ready to get on a stage and talk to like 500 people in a room and it's live streamed about my experience of dealing with at that time, like viral meningitis. My talk was health, love, and viral meningitis. So I'm like, what? But I was like, no, I'll do it. Okay. If I get this opportunity coming, just take it. And it was helpful and opened more doors. So, I think that's a combination of those three things.
So how did you get past the nerves? Because I remember back in 2015, when I got the opportunity to speak on stage for the first time, I forgot words, including my name, in front of everybody.
You're kidding me, Kay. Oh, no. Bless your heart.
No.
Okay.
Right. So how did you get past that? Because after that, I was like, I'm never doing this again.
I love this question. Okay. So I'll tell you honestly, Kay. So for all of the accelerator programs that I've done here in Canada, I've been the MC. So I come up, I own the stage. And my key to getting over the nerves is not like it's not nervous or nerve wracking and you have to remember things, but I literally look as being on stage as a party. This is my time to engage and have fun with my audience, which is why I tend to choose speaking gigs where I get to come on and either they want me to storytell. I have a loose idea of what I have. I love audience engagement and participation. So I'm not one of those stodgy kind of speakers that'll just come up and everything is read off a script. I don't do scripts on stage. Right. And honestly, I come and I think of everybody in that audience as my buddy and they gonna have a good time. Like they're coming for entertainment and for fun. And since I started viewing it like that, I literally love doing it. I MC all the time now because I get the energy in the room riled up. People feel pumped. They're like, how are you doing this? And I'm like, I love people. I love humans. I love humans.
I love that. I can already tell. I'm sure our listeners will be able to tell as well from your energy for sure. Now, Tash, what was it about, I guess, the marketing tech world that intrigued you, that you wanted to kind of know more and help corporations all over the world to build their businesses around that?
I think it goes back to that connection with humans. One of the things I love to do, and I'm sure all of you who are listening can also tell, I'm quite bougie. I love money. I'm not afraid of it. And I'm also not afraid to sell. I sell for my founders, for my startups. I tell people about what they're doing. I share what they do with the world. Actually, I've got one of my founders' shirts on. You're so fetch. Ooh. Flying Fetch is the name of her company. If you want to know more, you can ask me. But I love that. And I've always been intrigued with like this digital world. How are you using the message that you're sending out to people? Are you attracting the right humans to what you want? People sell to people, even online. And I've always wanted to optimize and make that best message for companies so that if their ideal customer sees that message, they automatically are drawn in and say, yes, I want it. And it was one of those things I didn't realize I was good at it until I started doing it for myself. And then I realized, wow, I'm building a business. And other people kept coming to me saying, can you help me do this too? And again, it's very similar to what I said earlier. Opportunity comes, you say, why not? Yes, okay, I'll do it. And then I started getting stellar results for my companies, like increasing revenue by 400% in one campaign. That's a crazy outcome to me. And so when I realized what I was doing was working, I was like, okay, let's keep it going. Let's help more businesses to become sustainable and drive revenue. And so to this day, all the marketing that I do with my founders is all about how do you make it more human? There's a concept that I refer to, which is jobs to be done, which is what is that thing that your potential customer really, what's the progress they want to achieve in their life? And how do we make that come across in your marketing, in your advertising without saying it directly, but so that they can feel it? They can look at it, they can hear it even, and they just come and they're like, this is for me. Where have you been all my life? And so that's literally the process that I take through with all of the startups and the companies that I work with.
Oh my goodness. And I guess it's that whole saying yes opportunities, right? Not seeing the challenges, but seeing the opportunity, the solution that you can bring to your clients, which makes you really powerful and gets your clients the results, because you're like, oh my goodness, I'm going to take up this challenge. Nothing's too difficult, right?
Absolutely. That's exactly it, Kay. And it's just being on the lookout. So I am very intuitive and aware, and I stay looking for where's the next opportunity going to come. And I'm in there, in like Flynn, as they used to say back in the day. I'm dating myself. As you could say from my intro, I am a lot older than most people would think I am when they look at me. And I love that. I'm like, yeah. I've been around.
I get the same thing, because I am a lot older than I look as well. People are like, you know, you must be in your 20s. How have you done all this? I'm like, I'm not in my 20s. I'm not in my 20s.
Embrace the king. People are paying for
that. I'm telling you, yes, definitely. Now, where do you feel like, because I know there's a lot of people out there, a lot of listeners out there saying that it's easier said than done, right? They're like, if you've never done it before, you don't have the confidence, right? How can you start saying yes to things, right? How can you just take on opportunities and just kind of go with it when you don't have no experience, you're maybe just starting out and you really don't know what it is that you're doing, you're just going with it. So where and how do you build that confidence?
Well, first of all, I think before you actually go into something, you have to have a skill set that is at least somewhat similar to what you're doing. So the great part about, coming from the corporate world and management consulting is that you build up a lot of skills that are transferable. So that's the first thing I would say. If you have absolutely no idea about the industry, there are so many courses you can take, even on LinkedIn, online, go back to school, do something so that you have those skills. But once you have those skills and you know that they're transferable. So for me, I've been doing very similar work in sales and marketing in that corporate world. And so to me, it was an easy transition to say, well, listen, now I'm going to do it for small, medium-sized businesses and startups. And so it wasn't like it was completely new to me. But I think the biggest challenge, especially if you're new to business or you're just about to create a venture, is to move beyond the fear and say, listen, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to crack this. I know I have the skills and the confidence to do this. It might be something new, but I'm just going to do it anyway. Right. And I'll give an example. I'll give a perfect example. So when I started doing mentorship for startups, I've been doing it in Silicon Valley, in the heart of where startup Mecca is, so they say. And then I had been back in Canada taking a breather over the winter holiday, and I got an opportunity to fly. This is one of the first gigs that I did overseas, to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and do one of the 3-month programs. Now, before I had been mentoring a couple of hour sessions on and off for the previous year and a half, 2 years, but this was something different. I was going to a whole new country, a whole new culture. I had no idea what I was heading into. I did my research, had my family kind of do a little intervention to say, no, you shouldn't go. But I was like, I gotta go. My spirit is calling me to go. There's something that's waiting. There's something that's new for me there. And I did it. And I learned on the way. I knew how to do a lot of what they were asking for, but to just go in and run a 3-month accelerator program, again, I was just focused on the results. And I was like, well, we're going to get these startups the results that they want at the end of the program, and we'll figure it out as we go. And funny enough, that's one of the keys to running accelerator programs, is you're focused on the results and you're focused on the founders, getting to know the founders and what they really need and giving them what they need. So I just figured it out. And you have to have that intuitive trust in yourself and that confidence. And the only way to get there is think of you know what? My birthday was just on the 10th of November.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. And what I did literally was reflect on how far I've come in my career. And when all of us, I guarantee you, if you're listening to this podcast, think about where you're at now and what you're doing and where you started. Listen, I have accumulated so many skills, even in the past, I would say the past year, that I didn't know that I could attain. And it's all because I said yes to the opportunity. So you have to just hunker down, say yes, trust yourself that you can do it, and just do it. Like there's no way of overcoming that. If you don't do it, who else is going to? That's what I always remind myself.
Exactly, exactly. Now, Tash, you did mention when we were off camera and we were talking behind the scenes that you're barely at home. Like you might be at home for 3 months in a year and then you're traveling
Yes.
the rest of the year, right?
Yes.
And you've created that for yourself. That's what you've developed for yourself in your business. That's what you wanted. Now, tell us a little bit about when you're not at home. What are you doing? How do you make that work, right?
Well, okay, let me tell you, I just got through an absolutely unbelievable year. So usually what happens is I run 2 full-time 3-month programs per year. Right now, those programs are taking place in Edmonton and Calgary and Alberta, Canada. By the way, if you are a startup company and you happen to hear about this, check us out. You can't miss it. Do 500 Global in Alberta. You'll find our programs. If you think you need a kick in the butt and need to ramp up, level up, that's what we do. So I do those 2 programs. So that's 6 months right there. But then in between when we're on break, I also do boot camp accelerator programs. For instance, I did one in Cairo. So this is a week-long work with, in that program, that was a big program. That was 30 startup founders. And we walked them through some of the principles that we would do in a 3-month program, but it's like on steroids, super high powered, full days, just on. I do those. And then I also do some one-off sessions for founders wherever I need to go. So for instance, I'm about ready to travel back to Edmonton and do a presentation to get founders excited to be in the tech world and the startup world. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I do boot camps all over. I did one in Japan this past year. I took a group of founders to Texas for South by Southwest last year. Oh, this year. Wow. There's a lot that happened. And so I literally go where my founders need me, where the programs need me. And I never know in a given year where that's going to take me. So I've gotten a lot of extra stamps in my passport this year alone.
Don't you love it? Oh my goodness. I was traveling a lot before COVID, and I remember I had to go back to, I was living in Costa Rica at the time. I had to go back to London, right? Even though I had 5 years still left on my passport because I ran out of pages because they've all been stamped. So I had to go get a new passport, right?
Love it.
That's a good problem to have, right? Awesome.
Absolutely.
So Tasha, tell me this. So where do you see the tech world going? Because it has evolved so much, especially since COVID.
Oh, yes.
So where do you see tech going? Because you've been doing this for years and you've seen the evolution of it, right? What are the next steps? Where do you see tech going from now?
You know what, Kay? If you were to ask me that question 6 months ago, I think I would have had a different answer than now. What I will tell you is that the evolution of AI is changing the game for tech. Yes, it is scary because things are moving super fast in the tech world, faster than I've ever seen. For example, we are just screening tech companies for our next batch that starts in January. And I swear it's got to be 90% of the companies that are applying are AI enabled. So much so that we turned it into a question on our application. AI is moving things forward and has a power and ability to figure things out that are just beyond understanding to me right now. So I think AI is changing the game to the point where I don't know where it's going to go. But what I will tell you is, for instance, when you look on your phones and we've seen everything accelerate, like what would take 10 years to get to the next generation of technology now went down to a year. I think we're going to get to the point where it's going to grow exponentially as far as the new generations of things, from phones to applications to technologies in our homes. And honestly, I'm at the point where I can't predict. However, I'm lucky in that I get to witness what companies are doing in real time as I do these programs across the world. I do programs in Europe, all across MENA, in North America, and I see it happening before our eyes. So my prediction is just that AI, get used to it. It is a little scary of what it can do, but if you don't embrace it, it cannot be stopped. It almost has a life of its own now.
Right, I totally agree with you there. Like, if a business isn't implementing AI in some way, then those businesses are going to get left behind, right?
Absolutely.
AI is just developing, tech is developing, and we got to keep ahead of the curve. And we should have learned a lesson by now, especially with the pandemic, right? Like, with so many businesses failing because of the pandemic, we should have learned a lesson now. We need to keep ahead of the times and tech to make sure that your business isn't taken away by anything, right? Because you never know what's around the corner.
Oh, listen, and as fast as technology is moving, if you are not able to stay up with the times and keep your business, doesn't matter even if you're a small business, if you are a service provider, if you are an innovation base, like you just like to create things, if you're not using technology in some way, shape, or form, you're going to get left behind. And so that's not a scare word or comment. That's just, this is real. We're keeping it real here. This is how it is. So it's happening. But I can tell you, and I will say this in case we have any tech founders who are listening. One of the things that I personally am on the lookout for is any tech company that has an interest in upping the game related to customer service. Think about it. Do we still have to call and wait on long lines for things and they still haven't figured that out? It is almost 2024. Can we get our game together and create some technologies that help stop this crap from calling in on a line and waiting on hold to get to someone? Can we not fix that? So if you are a tech founder and you're interested in customer solution tech, please hit me up, because I'm ready to get behind any company who's willing to take that on. It's too long and there's so much crappy customer service out there. Let's fix it. Let's help people.
I love that you brought this up, right? Because now this raises more questions. I know this is meant to be a 30-minute episode, but it might go on a little bit longer, Tash. I got to let you know.
It's all good, Kate.
And so, customer service, people are saying, well, I'm hearing all sorts of things at the moment. Like, people want to hear a human being. They don't want to hear a machine. They don't want to hear a bot. But then there's loads of businesses that are implementing automation, AI, all this stuff. What is your take on that? Do we still need to make sure that there is an actual person at the end of the phone? Or is it okay to implement bots and AI and automation and tech?
So I would suggest to any companies who are out here, number one, you have to be aware. Sorry, millennials, if you're out here, but the truth is, I don't know why y'all hate speaking to real people most of the time, but you do. You just want to be texting, let me go on chat and let me do this. So you do have to make it available. So yes, if you are a company and no matter what field you're in, yes, you do have to make those services available. However, there are so many cases where you need to talk to a real person, and that piece needs to be optimized. I don't think we're ever going, like for me, for instance, I just booked a big trip to Mexico. Finally, I haven't had a vacation in over a year, so I'm going. And it's great to know that you can pick up a phone, but why am I sitting on hold for 20 minutes? Can we not fix this process? Can I not put my number in, give you a time slot when I'm available and you call me back?
Yeah.
It's a very simple fix. And I think too many companies are just so used to doing it the old way. And it takes those of us who are innovators to come along and say, listen, if you gave your customers an option, would they take it? And yeah, they would. And they want to save time. They want to talk to real people. They want to be able to have that human connection. But can we make that a lot easier, please?
Yeah. Do you know what? Again, you brought something really interesting there. People have been put on hold for a long time. People ain't got patience for this anymore, right? I know I've done it when I'm trying to get hold of companies and I'm like holding and holding. Sometimes it could be an hour, right? And you either have to decide to put the phone down, call back another day, and, just see it and just take it from there. Now, what I'm finding is a lot of people, you can tell them and tell them and tell them that there's a solution, there's this, or you can have your head banging against a brick wall. But a lot of companies don't listen until something happens. And all of a sudden they're forced to listen to a solution. What is your take on that? Because I've come across that so many times, and something drastic has to happen before they actually take action.
Of course. Well, unfortunately, that's just how it goes. However, that is why I work with startups, because what we do is we go look for those low-hanging fruit. Find those companies who've had literally lawsuits because they've had people waiting online too long, and then go offer them an opportunity that for a solution that we've created that will solve that problem so that they won't have to deal with it again. Guess what? Don't bang your head against the ones who you have to force to listen. Show them that it works, and then take your testimonials from the people who are getting the progress or the results from your solution and let that run. Because if you say, listen, sorry, I'm going to use names here. If you're luxury company A and you need a good customer service line, you get them. And then you go and talk about customer luxury car B, say, listen, A just signed up for this. So if you're not going to do it, you're going to miss the boat. That's how you grow a business. That's how you grow a startup. That's how you grow the technology. You have to spread it, but you have to show that you can actually get the results first, and then let that speak for itself.
I like that. Now, Tash, again, we're talking about tech and how it's evolved so much. How have you kept up with, everything that's going on and with the tech and how it's evolved and all these different AI platforms that's coming out? How do you keep up with tech yourself?
It's very easy. I love my founders. My founders know who I am. They reach out all the time. I watch what they're doing. I have WhatsApp groups for all of them. Like I've said, I've worked with more than 300 founding teams at least now. I'm sure it's getting, by the end of this year, it'll probably be up to 500. And so I listen to my founders' networks. I mentor on a few different programs. So I do 500 Global, which is my main, it's my baby, but I also mentor with Andreessen Horowitz, or as it's known here, A16Z as well. So I'm involved in quite a few startup ecosystems as well. So I get to see what's cutting edge as it's coming out. And again, I have founders across Asia, across MENA, across North America, across Europe, pretty much a good coverage of the world. And so I see what's coming out from wherever it is, and I stay up to date, and then I do my own research there. And of course, I use AI, because once you have AI, whether it's Chat GPT or Bing, whatever you're using, you do a quick couple of searches and bam, there you go. You know what you're searching for. You can find the most up-to-date news that you need. So I use technology, I use people, my community, and technology.
Absolutely. I love it. So you get to work with all these companies, so you get to cheat. You probably get to see some of the stuff that no one else sees yet, right? That's awesome.
I totally do. It is so awesome. And I look back this year and realized I am super privileged. I know that there's not that many people who do the work that I do. We are a sought after bunch. But it is a privilege. You get to see what's moving the world forward. There are a lot of technologies that are coming out that are actually transformational in how we maintain our world and our environment. Energy that's super important for us. How do we make sure we have a world 1,000, 1,000,000 years from now? There are startups who are working on those solutions. And so it's kind of cool.
Oh my goodness. Now, Tash, I know people are thinking, oh my goodness, I need to speak to Tash. How do I get hold of her? So where can they go to connect with you?
So number one, you can always go to my website, tashjefferies.com. There are always slots there. But the easiest way where I'm going to see you and also check you out, because I do my research, is Tash J on LinkedIn. And I always tell everyone, just look up Tash Jefferies. Don't need to get the correct spelling, but I'm sure you'll find me for the hair. The hair never changes. It's always big and curly.
Also, I love it. Guys, listen, Tash has got the behind the scenes scoop on tech, right? She knows what's going on out there before the rest of us do. So if you want to make sure you implement the tech in your business, the right tech to make sure that you're moving forward with the world for your business, for your clients, then you need to get in contact with Tash. Do it right now. And if you've missed any of the links that will be in the show notes, make sure you scroll down and grab them in the show notes. But I urge you, go and connect with her. Plus, she's not going to bite. You already listened to this episode. She's freaking awesome. Her energy is up there.
I love people. I do not bite. Listen, I'm a homegirl from the hood in Halifax, Nova Scotia, of all places, who ended up getting herself bougie. I'm open to everyone. Come and talk to me. I'm not scary.
I love it. I love it. Now, Tash, if there was one thing that you wanted our listeners to know, if we've missed anything we've not mentioned in this episode, what would that one thing be?
Just one thing. Okay. Always, it's the one thing that I talk to, and we talked about it a lot in the case in a certain way in this show. Talk to your customers, please, please, please. Don't just sell something, a service or a product, and then just leave it out there. Go back and actually go on Zoom here, pick up a phone, go visit them, but talk to your customers and see if they are actually getting the results that you promised from your solution. Because that is the key to unlocking the power within your business. Doesn't matter what size you're at, if you're just starting out or if you're seasoned, please don't be afraid of people. Go talk to your customers, talk to them more often. If you can talk to your customers every day, even better. But always go back and talk to your customers. To me, it is the key of building a strong business, whether it's a tech startup or an entrepreneurial solopreneurship. Talk to your customers.
I love that. Thank you so much, Tash. Oh my goodness, so many golden nuggets in such a short amount of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate, for having me.
Thanks for listening to Make Your Mark podcast at www.makeyourmarkpodcast.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get this and every other episode that comes out. We have lots of great stuff coming, so make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss it. And thank you in advance for all the reviews and comments. I appreciate it so much. And I look forward to serving you in next week's episode.